Chiefs versus Eagles. We got the number 2 Chiefs versus the number 4 Eagles. And it's going to go ahead and get in the numbers here today, guys. We'll do some of the introduction stuff on the outro. We got a variance score of 1.1 on this game and the adjusted score of minus 1.6. We got the Chiefs. We have the Chiefs at a 0.5 for experience. Since they've been there, they've won it before. So you add that 0.5 to the 1.1, that's where you get the 1.6. And Vegas has it at 1.5, so that's pretty accurate. Looks like a very good, accurate spread there. But when you get down into the numbers, you start looking over that stuff. When you calculate combined offense, which is multiple stats generated to get an offensive ranking, we get the Eagles at number 6 and the Chiefs at number 11 in combined offense. When you do the same for defense, you get the Eagles at number 1 and the Chiefs at number 2. So in combined defense, they're very close. And in combined offense, the Eagles have a slight advantage there as per the season. So their total score is a 7, and the Chiefs are 13. Again, the lower score is better there. So statistically, the Eagles are the better team here. They have advantages in a couple different areas. One of them is their passing defense. Their passing defense is ranked number 2, with the Chiefs being 19. You flip that over, though. The Chiefs have a little bit of advantage in their passing offense. They're ranked 15th, and the Eagles are 31st. So maybe that offsets a little bit. But the Eagles' passing defense is good enough to give the Chiefs some problems. They are young on the back end. I will say that. They might be a little bit inexperienced. So the Chiefs might be able to take advantage of that. I'm sure Andy Reid is cooking something up for those young guys on the back end there. Drop down to the rushing game. Rushing offense, the Eagles are number 2, and the Chiefs are 23. So the Eagles have another advantage there, and quite a big advantage. So you go over and look at the rushing defense. It's pretty even with the Eagles at 8 and the Chiefs at 9. So there again, the big difference in the rushing game is the Eagles' advantage at number 2 versus the Chiefs at 23. So obviously the Eagles are a better rushing team, and the Chiefs are the better passing team. But I'm wondering, what's more important, the running or the passing in this game? I think that's a good question. And there's really no home team advantage. Of course, this is a neutral site. The injury list, when I looked at the injury list, it was super long for both teams. They filled those injury lists up, and obviously there's no weather with it being indoors, and your X factor again is the Chiefs with a little bit of an experience advantage. That's pretty much your breakdown on some of the simple numbers there.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I like how you've said the last couple of weeks when we've done these shows, you've talked about that trifecta with the good quarterback and a good head coach, a decent running back, and both teams have that, right? But what is one side that you would take? Numbers wise, we're looking at the Eagles, and they have the advantage quite a bit, in most categories. But at the end of the day, you've got Patrick Mahomes, you've got an Andy Reid, and you have a hard nose runner and Isaiah Pacheco who could end the game, who could, get that first down if needed. But in those big moments, who do you trust more to make those big time throws when you really have to throw it? You trust Patrick Mahomes, or are you going to trust Jalen Hurts more? Yeah, I don't think I need to answer that question for anyone. Absolutely Patrick Mahomes. And, a lot of people this game, they don't want to see Mahomes win. They don't want to see him win the three-peat and, saying he's a bad guy, but it is what it is. It seems like when you're good, you become the bad guy. But I'm gonna have to go with the Chiefs, man. I like the Eagles. I think they're a really good football team. They are a really good football team. Numbers backed it up. But the Chiefs, they're hungry, man. They've been here before. They want to go and they want to win that third Super Bowl in a row. And the only thing standing in between them is Saquon Barkley, Hurts, and Sirianni, and the hungry Eagles team as well, looking to get their revenge. Will they get it? I don't think so. I mean, the Chiefs' rushing defense has struggled the last couple weeks. It has not been very good. Very recently too. And playing the Eagles, playing Saquon, playing Hurts, that's not too good. But maybe the Chiefs are trying to throw some out in the tape to kind of, maybe they're playing a little bit bluff. Maybe they're trying to, put on a poker face and do something a little different here and have the Eagles prepare in a different way and then completely change it up once they hit the Super Bowl. That's the kind of team that the Chiefs are. They know they're that good of a football team that they don't need to, have a perfect game plan for everything. They could change things up to put something else on tape and just to prepare themselves for a bigger game down the road. They're that good of a football team. They can afford to do that. When you have Mahomes, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, you have one of the best play callers of all time in Andy Reid. I mean, that's just something that they have. They're gonna have the experience advantage as well. I mean, just give me the Chiefs, man. Give me Mahomes. Give me Andy Reid to get that three-peat. Yeah, that's all I kind of got.
Yeah, I like your points. I've been on the Chiefs the whole time, even since the beginning of the playoffs. I have bets for the Chiefs to beat the Eagles. You've seen the ticket. I sent it to you.
Yes, sir.
It's really hard for me to pick it in this one because the Eagles are the superior team when you look at the numbers. And I honestly think this is probably the best team that the Chiefs are going that they've played all year. And I could see the Eagles winning this because if you look at the stats here, the Eagles do things well that will give the Chiefs problems. Okay. Number one, they can run the ball, which means they can control the clock. They can keep Patrick Mahomes sitting on the sideline. Number two, they have a great pass defense. If you're going to play the best quarterback in the league, you're going to have a great pass defense, and the Eagles do. And the Eagles' defensive line is not weak. In rush defense, the Eagles' defensive line is just as good as the Chiefs. So there's no weakness there. Like I said, the offset is that the Eagles are the better running team and the Chiefs are the better passing team. The Eagles can stop the run, so can the Chiefs. But what's the big difference? The pass defense. I'm wondering if there's not a big turnover in this game. Maybe Philadelphia gets an interception or they get a fumble. They're going to need something like that to win this game. The Chiefs are going to have to probably make a mistake. And Philadelphia is going to have to play a really good game, maybe their best game of the year to beat the Chiefs. But I think it's possible. For all you guys out there who don't like the Chiefs and don't want the Chiefs to win, I'm here to tell you that there is hope. So there's hope in this game for you. I'm pretty close to putting money on the Eagles, to be honest. I am a little cautious about that because I have bets on the Chiefs already. So if they win, I'm going to win pretty good amount of money. So I don't really want to put money on the Eagles and lower my profit if the Chiefs do win. And the game being so close, that's probably going to keep me away from doing it. Your gut feeling has been good. You're 2 for 2 on your gut feelings with the Rams call and the Bills call against the Ravens. Honestly, if I'd went with the numbers and only changed the 2 gut calls that you had and went with the Rams and the Bills when you called it, I would have made a lot of money. So, yeah, I mean, that would have almost had almost every game in the playoffs right if I would have picked that. So, picked it that way. So, yeah, I'm a little cautious. I mean, if you're going to put money on this, it's hard because, right, the Chiefs historically are the better team. Everybody thinks they're going to win. But the Eagles are so good and so sneaky good and so good in the right ways to be able to beat this team they're playing. Boy, I don't know about putting money on it, buddy. That's a tough one. I'd be careful.
Yeah, for sure.
Caution. You could probably bet on some things. I do think that Saquon Barkley has a good chance of having a great game. The Chiefs had trouble stopping James Cook. And I think if the Bills would have kept running the ball instead of starting to pass it too much there at the end, they would have had more success. Like, they were successful running the ball against the Chiefs, and they quit doing it. I don't know why. Um, but yeah, I think there's a possibility that the Chiefs can be run on. And if Philadelphia can run on them and control the ball, it's going to be one heck of a game. I think this is upset city here. This is the toughest team that Mahomes has ever faced in the Super Bowl, for sure. This is a better Eagles team, I think, than the first time around. I think this is a better team than the Bengals. Yeah, the Bengals offense was great, but their defense wasn't as good as this Eagles defense. That's for sure. Yeah. It'll be fun to watch. I'm looking forward to it. I'm probably just going to sit on what I have. If the Chiefs win, I'm going to win some good money. So I'm just going to sit back, and I'm interested to see, are the numbers going to win out and the Eagles are actually the better team because on paper they are, or are the Chiefs just, clutch city and have all that experience and all that momentum and that want to get the three-peat done, and they're just, an unstoppable force. So, yeah, the unstoppable force meets the immovable object.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's just like I said, I'm sticking with my gut feeling again. I mean, I try not to change it because when I change it, typically I regret changing that, and I'm gonna
Yep.
stick with the Chiefs.
Well, I've learned my lesson. I'm not going against your gut no more.
um, it's just I can't see. I mean, yeah, I could see the Eagles win this game. Of course, like you said, they're a very good football team. They can run the football, and the Chiefs' run defense has not been good as of late. Were they bluffing? Were they kind of? I mean, they weren't playing bad run defense on purpose. Let's be honest. It's the playoffs. You're playing against the Bills. Playing against the
And the Bills'
Bills, and
offensive line is great. How do you compare the Bills' offensive line to the Eagles' offensive line?
ooh, yeah.
Is
I
that
I
talent the
mean,
same, or do you think there's a difference?
ooh, I'd say the Bills is a little better, but I'd say maybe the Bills is better overall, but maybe the Eagles' offensive line is better at run blocking.
You could, yeah. I mean, there is uh, intricacies to it like that, where, yeah, like the Bills might be better at pass blocking, and the Eagles' offensive line better at run blocking. I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Barkley, man, if they get Barkley going, Barkley can be it, but say, no, this is one of those games where Barkley does. And I know I've said this a lot, but, there are going to be games where your best players just don't have their best games. Um, and what if this is just a game where Barkley isn't having his best game? I mean, that's not characteristic of Barkley. It's a Super Bowl and all that. But, I mean, what if the Chiefs just find a way like to at least limit him, and Hurts has to make a couple more throws than he usually has to. Um, you know, I'm not too sure if Hurts can do that over Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? I think, but that's a big if. That's a big if that I'm throwing out there. There's a lot of
Yeah.
ifs. It's a Super Bowl. It's football. You're gonna have a lot of ifs. You're gonna have a lot of but they're there for a reason. I mean, anything can happen.
Looks to me like people are kind of discounting Sirianni a little bit. I've heard some of that talk on the Pat McAfee show there about, him being the big dumb dipshit. But he's he puts together a good team, and I'll say when he left the Colts, that's when the Colts really started taking a dive there with Frank Reich.
That's true.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
he left, that program took a deep dive.
I felt like all the creativity was gone.
Yeah, he when he left, you could tell there was a huge difference, and when he went to Philadelphia, they became successful almost immediately. So um, that was a good hire by them. I think for whatever you know reasons, he's got something there that he's got figured out, and he's just a good coach. And I think strategically, even speaking, because the way I love their power run game, how they control the ball, the clock. They have general, field Hurts as a field general type quarterback who can scramble. He makes the big third down plays, the big plays when he needs them most of the time. And I like their team, man. You talk about those trifectas, and like the Eagles have one too. But with their trifecta, you kind of have a wide receiver out there who's dominant. You got a big, tall wide receiver who's fast for being as tall as he is, and um, he's going to be tough to stop. People forget about that, and with that quarterback who can run and pass. But yeah, I mean, the Chiefs can do a lot of the same things. I think the big difference is quality and running back. Obviously the Eagles have the better running back, and the quality at quarterback for the Chiefs is an advantage. But it's a very even matchup because you're going to have a dominant run game versus a dominant pass game in a sense. And yeah, I just think it's going to be really close. I do think the spread's pretty accurate on this. I'm seeing it within a field goal or a touchdown if everything goes according to plan. But
Yeah.
of course, if somebody chokes and turns the ball over 3-4 times, I can blow that up.
I would say a key for the Eagles, though. I mean, I know this is going to be very difficult to do, but I mean, I feel like they're going to have to like kind of keep it a little more than a one possession game. Like I said, that's very difficult to do against the Chiefs. But I think if they play a close game, you're playing in the Chiefs. That's where the Chiefs have been the best all year long. I mean, if this game is really close, the Chiefs have been there all year long. They've been in close games
Yeah,
all year long against the best teams in the league. So I think it is vital. I think it is very important. That's a key that I didn't really bring up. I didn't really talk about. I think that the Eagles have to, you know, yeah, it's going to be close, but I feel like they have to be ahead by more than 3. I feel like they have to be ahead by 7 going into that fourth quarter because once you hit that fourth quarter, I mean, yeah, all game long, but once you hit that fourth quarter, it feels like the Chiefs they just find a way. They know how to, but you don't want to give Mahomes the opportunity to go down and win the game on a game-winning drive. At least, make it go into overtime or something like that, but um or force him, to have to go score a touchdown to tie it up because, if you put him in the position to oh, see, not now I'm going off the deep end. Now I'm losing my train of thought. I don't know.
yeah,
But do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I think if the Eagles can't keep it close. Like, I think they have to have at least a 7-point lead towards the end of this game. They can't just have a 3-point lead
well, the
because
game is set up for the quarterback to go down at the end of the game and win it.
exactly. Yeah,
That's the way the
that's what
rules
I'm
are set
saying.
up. And yeah, and one consideration for people to look at is where the game's being played. So, and that really, being indoors on turf is going to favor the passing game. That is a bigger advantage when you're a good passing offense versus a good running offense. Uh, like say if the game was on grass, outdoors on grass, I'd really like the Eagles even more because I think the run game is more powerful in a little bit more sloppy atmosphere. And when you go indoors and the atmosphere is perfect, that is really good for a quarterback to pass the ball. And that's, obviously what the Chiefs have. So it's going to be really hard to stop Patrick Mahomes on turf in a dome. Um,
Exactly.
I do think that the Eagles have a great chance. Like I said, this is probably the best team that Patrick Mahomes has played in the Super Bowl. I'd go out on a limb and say that. And I don't know. I just, I think they give them problems because I think they're good in the right areas. And that's, the Chiefs better be careful. They better not turn the ball over. They better not, kick too many field goals and that kind of thing. Because then, if it's close, I mean, the Eagles could go down at the end of the game and win it too. They could, grind out a long running drive and take up a bunch of the clock and just keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline. But that's what they're going to need to do to win the game. But yeah, I mean, in the end, I'm going to say the Chiefs are going to win this. If the spread was more, like if they had the Eagles at like +3, I'd probably take that, but not at 1 or 1.5. I don't see much value there. Um, I'm not saying it can't happen, but I do think if you're gonna look for like some bets on this game, Patrick Mahomes with the yards, passing yards, um, he might get there, and Saquon obviously with the rushing yards because the rushing defense of the Chiefs did not look great against the Bills, and the Eagles are probably an even better rushing team. So maybe Saquon's got an opportunity there, a window to get some yards, some real good yards in this game. Um, if they got behind, if they were to get really far behind, they're not going to run as much. They're going to pass more, but that's always a risk in the gambling. If they get up, if they do get ahead on the Chiefs, they're going to run the ball a bunch. They're going to try to run that clock out. So if they're being successful, they're just going to do it all day. So a good chance of some rushing yards there, I think. And Patrick Mahomes is usually pretty money on his passing game. So I'd just be looking at those two bets. And if I was, especially, and I probably will here before the game. I haven't put any bets in yet, but probably a few days before the game starts, I'll start looking at the numbers and calculating some more of that. But yeah, that'll probably be what I'm looking at. Like I said, I'm already sitting on a pick for the Chiefs to beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl that I picked before the playoffs started. So if I hit that, I'm going to win a good amount of money. I picked the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl anyway. I had a bet on that. I had Saquon Barkley to get the most touchdowns in the playoffs. Looks like that's going to hit. Had Patrick Mahomes to get the most yards, passing yards in the playoffs. Looks like that's going to hit. So yeah. Now I put some bets too. Like I had some bets on the Ravens because I had the Chiefs and the Ravens coming out of the AFC, and I had it more weighted towards the Chiefs because I felt like they were the better favorite, and that's kind of what ended up happening. So money wise, I'm looking good as long as the Chiefs win. I'm gonna be a happy man. But
Yeah, sounds like you're really hitting home on your
yeah,
bets. But hey, there you
so
go.
far,
There
yeah,
you go. But yeah, I think your point that you made was much better than mine. I think instead of that wonky point that I was trying to make, game can't be close. It's going to be close. I think the better key or the better way to put that is that the Eagles need to stay in control of that game. Like you said, they need to be, they need to get out to the lead. They can't let the Chiefs lead this game. They can't let the Chiefs control this game in terms of them scoring first and them scoring higher first because the Eagles don't want to pass the football. They don't want to get into a shootout. They want to run that football. They want to chew that clock. They want to win that game, and they want to get out of there.
yeah.
And something else very important to bring
It's
up,
like how I play Madden.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. That works. But something that's very important, that kind of goes into that key is I believe the Eagles were the best team in forcing fumbles this season. And what's probably the best way to get a turnover on the Chiefs when you're going up against Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid? I mean, Patrick Mahomes doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. So your best bet is probably going to force a couple fumbles. Then there's probably a better chance of Isaiah Pacheco or Travis Kelce or even one of these receiving options, or maybe even one of the RB 2 or 3s, the running back 2 or 3s to maybe even fall the football. So if the Eagles can force a fumble or two and then really control the game and really get out to a lead, then their odds should be looking pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. They've got a great chance here. I don't think there's a bunch of separation between these teams at all. I just think that you have the statistically superior team in the Eagles facing the undisputed champions here.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a great game, I hope. And I honestly want it to just be a game where there's not a bunch of turnovers because I want to see what happens when the statistically better team meets this championship team, that's got the championship DNA, and see how that pans out without there being a bunch of turnovers and a mucking of the game. Like kind of like somebody doesn't show up or somebody gets nervous, I don't want to see a game like that. I want to see a battle where there's no turnovers, maybe one at the end, or something like that. But I'm hoping no more than one turnover in this game and just a real battle. That's what I
Clean
want
game.
to see.
Clean
Yeah,
game.
a clean game is a good way
between
to put it.
two really good football teams. I agree.
Yes.